Open up your eyes, take a look at me. Get the picture fixed in your memory. I'm driven by the rhythm like the beat of a heart. And I won't stop until I start to stand out.
All right, everybody, welcome back to LorcanaCast, the happiest podcast on earth. We are here to talk about a lot, and we mean a lot of brand new revealed Lorcana cards. I think we have 10. Yeah, we've got 10 cards to talk about in hopefully 60 minutes. Don't hold us to that, but we are going to have a bunch of fun, and we've got a special guest here with us during this recording. We have Brandon from Brimley Games. How are you doing on this episode, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. How are you guys doing tonight?
Oh, we are fantastic. This is really exciting. Chris Bates is also with us. How are you doing, my buddy?
I am doing great. Ready to talk about some new cards.
All right. And then shout outs to Skeff Man. He is doing his magical thing. He likes to go to conventions and buy comics and trading cards. And then I don't know what he does with them. He probably sells them somewhere else. So
I mean, it's his job. So yeah, like that's what he does.
I mean, okay, that makes sense to why he was trying to sell everybody Dragon Shields.
Right.
He's a hustler. Okay, it all makes sense now. Okay, cool. Well, we wish Skeff the best of luck on his journey. So we're just going to jump right in because we've got so many cool things to talk about. So card number 1 is Rapunzel letting down her hair. She costs 6 ink, cannot be sent to the inkwell, non-inkable, 5 strength, 4 willpower, 2 pips of lore. In red, keywords are Dreamborn, Hero, Princess. And she has a special effect that's called Tangle. When you play Rapunzel, each opponent loses 1 lore. So what do y'all think?
I think it's huge. I mean, this is a first. I mean, again, I'm not as good at the cards as Sugi is, and probably Brandon, because I'm waiting till the game releases to actually play. But I think this is the first character that we've seen that takes lore away, right?
So this would be the second, and it's also in Ruby. So there's the Aladdin where you can gain 2 lore, and then all of your opponents lose 2 lore. And then this one is to have all of your opponents lose 1 lore. So we've got 2 with that taking away of lore in Ruby already.
So Ruby's the Shadow or Dis or what, or Black Magic maybe. I don't know, that kind of stuff.
Like Shadow from Keyforge.
Yeah. No,
but you are correct. She is the first character when you play her removes the lore immediately. At Aladdin, you have to challenge and banish something. Right. So if they don't have anything tapped, Aladdin kind of sits there and looks awkward. But Rapunzel has an ETB. The moment she enters the battlefield,
she does
her ability goes off. Yeah.
And then, I mean, the stat line, it's 5/4 for 6 cost, 2 pips. I mean, very good card. I think you get a lot for that 6 value, right? Yeah,
that's awesome. I love pretty much any card that has 2 lore. That jump from 1 to 2 is huge when you can quest with them and get twice as much.
Yeah, it's been really interesting because a lot of people thought Rapunzel was one of the bottom 5 cards in the set. And that fascinated me because she is in no way one of the 5 worst cards in the set. And then someone was like, she's one of the top 10 worst cards in the set. I'm like, I don't think that's an accurate assessment, y'all.
Wow. I wonder what do they give a reasoning for that? Or that's just
no, it's the internet. They just say things and walk away from the statement. No,
but comparing her enter the game ability, by itself, I would think you're paying 6 for that by itself, right? And then she comes with 2 pips, and then she's a 5/4, which is a decent stat line. So I don't know why you would think she'd be a bad character. I think if she in any red deck, I think she seems like an auto play,
and especially if you're doing a multiplayer one, because then you take a lore from every other player. And so her and Aladdin both get a lot more powerful in multiplayer games.
I wonder if that's going to be a formatting thing for all characters that take away lore, right? They just want to make sure that they can do that in multiplayer as well. And that, I wonder if that leads us to believe that multiplayer is going to be a legit format for this game, right? If they're already going to be templating cards like that, and if they're keeping it consistent with any lore loss, will apply to everybody.
I think we'll see characters that target a player. They specifically lose lore. It's not going to be.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what we'll get more? We'll get more lore loss that way?
Yeah.
I think it'd be nice to have a bit of both. You have the ones that target everybody, really good for multiplayer, and then you have the one where all you want to do is take out whoever's in first place. So totally makes sense to choose one person.
Yeah, if they're going to build a good multiplayer set, then there's got to be diplomacy. And these red cards are not really diplomatic. It's just slap it down and go, everyone suffers. But I really think we're going to see cards that say, choose a player, they lose X lore. So then you can start making negotiations and say, hey, I'll play this on Bates. Brandon, I'll play this card on Bates if you don't attack me next turn.
Right.
Okay, cool. Yep. You got a deal. All right, Chris Bates, you are going to lose 3 lore because this card says so. And you're like, no, and then, people will be kind of frustrated. But it's much more interesting for diplomacy's sake if a card targets a player, then the effect just hits everybody. Like, oh, well, yay. Now everyone hates you for playing Rapunzel.
Yeah, and you become the target, and everybody wants to take down your characters and make sure that at least that you don't win.
Yeah, if you're playing red in multiplayer, I think you're already gonna be a target. That's just the way it is. Depending on where the other lore loss cards come in.
I don't know. I'm not worried about red as much as other colors. Red will just draw aggro from me playing, green and purple and doing dumb things.
Setting you back off your plan is huge, though. If you're planning on winning the game next turn, and then nope, not anymore, right? So I don't know. It seems like a great card. I'm excited to see more effects like that. Something that has an impact on the win condition of the game directly.
Totally. And when there's your opponent's at 16 lore and they have enough characters on board to quest for 4 the next turn, if you pull this off, that's huge. You just saved yourself a whole extra turn. So even though it's just 1, this is going to be a really important effect to have.
Yeah, I think she'll be a lot of fun in multiplayer if someone has Cruella and the Cruella dies. And it's like, I'm going to bounce that Rapunzel. And everyone's like, no, not again.
Right. She's probably too expensive for bounce shenanigans. But again, we don't know if there's going to be any reducers she's a princess.
There's got to be reducers.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like reducers that get her out there multiple times.
Yeah. I think she's going to be super fun in multiplayer just because of the politics of I've got a Rapunzel, and it's like, no, you don't. And you flash it. They're like, oh, he does.
Right.
It's like, oh crap, Timmy, Jimmy, and Chris are all at 15, 16 lore, and if they play this card, we're not going to win immediately. Like, no, you're not. So it's a fun card. Whether it's competitive or not, that's to be seen. But in terms of lore of the game and theme and artwork, she's pretty cool. I like her a lot. We'll have to see where she fits, but I think there's a pretty good chance she'll be good.
Agreed.
All right, let's move on to our vanilla friend Sven, the official ice deliverer. This card is in purple, costs 6 ink and can be sent to the inkwell. 5 strength, 7 willpower, 1 pip of lore, no ability, and the keywords are Storyborn and Ally. What do you think? It's a 5/7 body for 6 in purple, mind you.
Meh. I mean, it's a card that's there. I think you included it fills your curve of your deck. If you need a big butt, right? It's 5/7. You can ink it. So obviously nothing too exciting. 1 pip, 6. But it's we need cards that are vanilla to make other cards shine. And that's what this card does.
Totally. And I do like the stat line, though. That 5/7 is going to be pretty good late game. Be able to do some good damage with that 5 attack, and then can also hopefully survive and be able to take somebody out. Because even if he takes out a 5 willpower player when he challenges, he's still going to do 5 damage to whoever attacks into him. So he can take out quite a couple people, and he could be a really good card at that part. But at the same time, without the ability, it does make that card a little bit less.
And I feel like when you start getting to 6, really, it's like, we compare it to Rapunzel, right? You start getting to some of these crazy effects that really would have a big impact on the game. So I'm not sure. It's to be seen. Again, well, what do you think, Siggy? I mean, you play more games than all of us. At that point, I'm gonna keep saying that you're addicted to this game. At that point, is that in the game?
Don't tell anyone. I have a problem.
I think
I
you
can
told
stop
people.
anytime.
No, you can't.
Oops. Wait. When? Now? Uh-oh.
Do you think a big body that late in that game? I mean, maybe 6 isn't that big. But to me, just being somebody who hasn't played the game yet, that seems like a big cost for a pretty vanilla card.
I think in a vacuum, like the current vacuum we have, where we only have half the set available to us, he looks very bad. But I'm pretty convinced, especially with some of the cards we're about to talk about, I'm very convinced that we're going to see ways to discount the cost of cards or cheat out characters. There's something coming we don't know about that I genuinely feel is going to accelerate the game, be it better ramp or better discounts, because we have lanterns, which discounts by 1, and then we have Detective Mickey and One Jump, which give you 1 extra ink. And my gut says we're probably going to see things that discount by 2, or something that ramps you 2 cards, so you really can get into these higher cost cards faster. So at the current state of the game, he's okay. I mean, we're playing Cerberus at 5, and he's a 5/6. So a 5/7 for 6 is better for 1 extra ink. I do agree. We're seeing 6 drops that have really impactful impacts on the game state, which Sven does not. But I think he's still got a place. I really want to hear what you guys think if you were to see this card in like sealed or draft. Because I think in a limited format, Sven is a really scary card.
Yeah, because how are you going to get rid of him? How are you going to deal with him?
Right. How do you stop him?
He's going to take out 3 of your characters, getting rid of them, right?
Yeah.
So
in constructed, I agree. I think he's kind of mid, but in sealed and limited, he makes me really excited to see.
To your earlier point, I think I also feel, I mean, this is totally baseless, but just a guess that the ally keyword will be one that, there will be decks made around, or we'll have cost reducers for allies. That just seems like something where they're going to want some of these, because a lot of allies are cheap already. They're most of the 1 cost cards. So I'd be interested to see like if they have, I don't know if there'd be sliverish, but it does seem like if there was going to be a keyword that was like that, then slivers and magic, for people who don't know, are cards that when you have them out, they add abilities to other slivers. So, their allies add abilities to other allies. That seems to make logical sense to me. We haven't seen that yet. That just seems like if they were going to do that with any subclass, subtype, that's where I would expect to see it at.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And like you're bringing up, a lot of the allies are those cheaper ones with maybe 2 strength. So there could be something where it gives all allies +1 strength, which for the lower ones is awesome. But for Sven, that means a lot. Get him up to 6 attack. So
6,
yeah. I think we'll have to wait and see. But my gut says he's probably decent. We'll find out in 5 weeks, or actually, we'll find out about 4.5 weeks by the time this episode airs, if we are correct or not. But if I can get a Sven out faster than turn 6, a 5/7 is no joke. He's not going to die to much of anything outside of hard removal. And do you really want to drop a removal spell on a 5/7 vanilla? Like, I don't know. There's some really scary cards in the set that aren't him.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, if we can get him out earlier, like we have right now, the just in time 3 cost can get out anything for a 5 cost or less. So if we could get something that's in that upper range, the 6, 7, 8 cost, that's like just in time, that would definitely help us get Sven out faster. And like you're saying, he'd be real scary early game.
Yeah, and I think we will. If we're seeing something that does 5 or less, I think we'll see something that does 6 or higher.
That's interesting. Do you think it would be 6 or higher, or do you think it'd be like they would rephrase it to be like 7 or less or 8 or less? Like this is going to be pretty much my first trading card game. So what kind of, do they have some of that in other trading card games?
It depends on the game you're looking at. There are games that have X or less, but there are also games that have X or higher.
Okay.
So I could see it either way. We could see like 7 or less, or we could see 6 or higher, 5 or higher. That's another thing, that 5 would be like the sweet spot. But the fact that just in time exists, that allows you to cheat a smaller card. Yeah. My gut would say we're going to see a way to cheat out a bigger card. I don't know what it'll look like. It could be something like Magic in Black, where it's like sacrifice or banish a creature, and then you can play a card, cost 5 or greater. So you basically trade a small body for a big body. We could see something like that. Or we could just see a more expensive just in time, where it's like, well, you don't want it to be too expensive, because then it's kind of worthless. So like, just in time can give you a 2-turn boost if you have a 5-drop. So I mean, if they gave you a 2-turn boost for these, it might be a 4-cost card that says you can play, character 6 or higher, but then you don't want it to be too good where it's like, oh, I play my Maleficent, the dragon on turn 4, or like a BLT Mickey on turn 4, because that's kind of oppressive too. So there's got to be a balancing act somewhere that gives you a way to accelerate, but not like dominate. Because at that point, everyone's going to be playing all the 8 and 9 drops and just fishing in their mulligan for, the big just in time and some giant monster like a Maui that we'll talk about later. It's like turn 4, here's an 8/8. What? Hold on. I'm sorry. Can you? What? So it's a very fine balancing act. We'll have to wait and see, but I still believe there's something coming that'll help you get these out faster than the current state of affairs.
Agreed. Yeah, I think we have a lot. What the stuff that's left is we're missing a lot, and they're holding back the good stuff for the end. That's my opinion.
My other thought, it comes from Magic the Gathering. There's a card called Llanowar Elves. It's 1 mana. Mm-hmm. It's a 1/1 elf, and you tap it to create 1 green mana. I would not be surprised if we saw characters that could tap for ink.
Or they'd be singing, right? I mean, I assume that's how the mechanic they'd say.
Well, I mean, like it would be just like Llanowar Elves. You take a card from your hand, play it face down into your inkwell, tap it, play the character, and the character has an ability where they can exert themselves to create 1 ink.
Sure.
So you can have this little rampy build where you don't use those characters for anything until the point where you want to get something bigger on the board faster. So that's my suspicion, is either we're going to see something that gets you more ink into your inkwell, or characters that can tap for ink, kind of like some of they're called mana dorks in Magic. They have like terrible stats. All they do is tap for additional land. So essentially you played 2 ink on 1 turn, give or take. So we'll have to wait and see, but it's basically lanterns on a character. That's kind of how it is. All right. Moving along, the next character is a promotional card that was revealed, and that is the new Goofy Musketeer. He is a 5-cost character, can be sent to the inkwell. He is in yellow or amber, 3 strength, 6 willpower. Keywords are Dreamborn, Hero, and Musketeer. He has 1 lore pip and 2 abilities. First one is Bodyguard. This character may interplay Exerted. An opposing character who challenges one of your characters must choose one with Bodyguard if able. So he can protect other characters behind him. And then his ability is called And 2 for T, which is a great reference to the movie. And it states, when you play this character, this Goofy, you may remove up to 2 damage from each of your Musketeer characters. So he is an AoE heal for anything that has the Musketeer keyword. So we've seen the Mickey Mouse Musketeer. We have this Goofy Musketeer. Obviously, the expectation is there's a Donald Musketeer. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw other things with that keyword in the future, or cards that can give keywords to other characters. That would be kind of cool. So what do you guys think about the Goofy Musketeer card? Do you like him? Do you hate him? Is he goofy enough for you?
Well, I've definitely enjoyed playing with Goofy. First off, I love that we now have Bodyguard in Amber. So there's Bodyguard in Amber, there's Bodyguard in Steel. So now you can play an Amber deck with another color other than Steel and still have a Bodyguard in there, which is really nice. I also love his 3/6 stat line. So the Mickey Musketeer is a 2/7. And so it's pretty much the same, but having that 3/6 at the lower cost is really nice. So getting Goofy out as a Bodyguard has been super helpful.
Yeah, it's fun to have the thematic things. Again, having the Musketeers all come together is going to be really cool. Assumably, I mean, it'd be weird if they put Donald in a different color than Amber or Steel. That'd be really unfortunate. So I assume that he's going to be Amber or Steel. And maybe they have different versions of from the those 3 characters, different points in the movie. Or maybe that's how they're going to do it, or maybe like Sugi said, they're going to give it the ability to add more Musketeers. I don't know. Obviously, having more than 3 eventually would be fun. But yeah, the ability's cool. Stat lines are great. Bodyguard's fun. Donald's probably going to have Bodyguard too. Maybe the cheaper Bodyguard. I don't know. So yeah, it's a very, very cool card. I want to get one of these promos. We'll see if I can grab one.
Are you going to Germany?
Well, I'm gonna no, but I can buy things.
Oh, flexinating over here. Okay,
is that flexinating? I'm just
definitely depends on how much they cost.
Right. That's what I mean. That's why I said I could. I'm not saying I am.
Yeah, I don't know how much he's going to cost, if hardly anything, because he comes out after the first set is released. So, what is it? Qualcomm?
Isn't it Gamescom?
Gamescom, yeah. So that's in Germany at the end of August. So Gen Con will have happened. So Goofy will be pulled somewhere. And then the release on the 18th will have happened. And then the Gamescom happens like right before the September 1st release in big box stores. So the Goofy card as is will be readily available. The only thing you're paying for is the stamp at the very bottom and the promo number. There might be rainbow foiling. We don't know what the foiling for the card is. So, if Goofy is just not an expensive card in the wild, the promo will be affected by that. And then on top of that, so the regular Goofy, I think, is an uncommon.
Yeah, he's an uncommon.
The other thing is, it's very likely they're going to have a metric crap ton of these at that convention. So like the Mickey Mouse BLT was really limited. There were like 900 or 1200. So there's probably going to be tons of this Goofy available. So
yeah,
I couldn't tell you what it's worth, but my gut says probably not hundreds of dollars, maybe like 30 to 50, maybe. And that's like really high, also including shipping from Germany, because that's not cheap. But I mean, you could probably get a play set for like maybe $100. So that'd be like 25 a pop, maybe. I don't know. I just don't look at this card as a promo and think, yeah, he's worth like, $50 a pop. I really wouldn't pay that for an uncommon.
And maybe again, there'd be collectors of the game. So the promo stamp itself was enough. If it actually is foil, I'd want to play with it, right? I'd want the foil one. That would lead me to believe that we'll have the foil of all the Musketeers.
Why not get the cold foil? The cold foil probably looks way better than the rainbow foil.
Sure, but like we don't. Well, actually, I mean, again, from Fab, I like the look of the rainbow foils better than cold foils, actually. When you're playing, the cold foils stay much nicer over time, and you can do a cold foil nicer than the rainbow foil, but just generally, it's easier to see rainbow foil when you're playing at the table than the cold foils. That's just my experience from Fab. So I actually like, if I have my choice, I would say I want rainbow foil cards to play with and cold foil cards to collect. But yeah, we'll see what to see.
So here's a fun question for the two of you: how much would you pay for this card coming from that convention?
What are the assumptions? What are the assumptions that it's just a stamp?
So the assumptions are, well, we know there's foiling. So let's assuming it's a rainbow foil and the stamp. What would you, if someone said, give me an offer, what would you pay for this card?
I wouldn't go over 100 total.
For 4 or just one?
One.
Okay. All right. Brandon, what's your upper limit?
Oh, upper limit. That's hard. I don't know, because I'm definitely on this side of I want to play the game more than collect. But Goofy is one of my favorite characters, so if I was getting a promo, this would be one of them. I probably wouldn't go. It'd be hard to go much over maybe 50. Like I don't see myself putting too much money into the collecting side of it. More on the getting a set and playing it. So if it's cheap and readily available, I might swing and pick one up. But if it's going to be decently high, I'm probably going to pass on this one.
Okay. Everyone who listens is probably going to hate me for this. I'm more of the player than anything else. I'm not a collector when it comes to this. Like, I want the cold foils, but I can get them from packs. Yes. So for this specific card, I love cold foils. I'm very addicted to those. So when it comes to like rainbow foil or cold foil, like I'm all team cold foil, hashtag. For this Goofy, I personally wouldn't pay more than $25. That's just me, mostly because it's an uncommon. That uncommon card is probably going to be like 20 cents. So,
well, that has nothing to do with the promo version of it. So
no, I know, but I don't want to pay 1,000% more for a foiling, especially when I like cold foil better than rainbow.
Well, the audience got the whole gambit there, so there we go.
Yeah. So if you're listening, leave us a message in chat. How much would you pay for this Goofy? I mean, that's the thing. It's all personal preference. Chris loves to collect. Chris has money. Chris likes holofoil. It's perfect. He can go as high as he wants. I don't care.
I assume that there will be, there will be a limit to how many of these are given out. That's why I'm saying 100. So no matter what, even if there are a lot given out, there will be a finite amount of the promo given out, right? And
I don't know. I have no idea. They might just hand them out to random people, being like, "Hey, come and play Lorcana." Like, "Oh, cool. What's this?" Well, I don't know. It's a Goofy.
It's the same argument for the Mickeys from the initial release, right? I mean, we know there was 9
because they ran out.
Well, sure, but that's what I'm saying. So, they could always. There's been no policy about them not reprinting that and handing that out in different places. So we're just all making assumptions that they're not going to do that, and that's what keeps the value up. So that whenever you do this kind of stuff, you are speculating on what something that you can't control is going to happen. So yeah,
the Mickey is a legendary rare, so that's going to be harder to find.
No. So why are you saying that? That's not true. Like the rarity of the card has nothing to do with the promo.
No, I see what you're saying.
Legit, yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to be like legit has nothing to like the promo. It's a promo, right? So like it doesn't matter what the card is, unless you're going to try to get the promo to replace it in your deck, which is one strategy.
You played Fab. You've seen promos that are worthless because nobody plays them,
and I've seen promos that are worth a lot
because everyone plays that card in their deck.
No. That's I see. That's your argument. Okay, your argument is playability. Sure, that does go into the effect of the promo. Again, that depends on somebody wants to play with it or wants to collect it or slab it up or whatever, right? That is a factor in the value of a promo. Sure.
So more collectors, So say for example, we had Sven, arguably a mid-range card, and that was the promo they were giving out at this convention. So it's not a card everybody wants. It's not a card everyone's going to play. And it's a card that's going to be given out for free. So it's probably going to have an impact on the value of the promo because the collectors want it, great, but the players probably don't because it's like, I don't really care about a foiled stamped Sven, but Goofy is probably going to see play. Maybe.
Right. So that goes against your argument.
What I'm saying is it could have an impact on keeping the price high. The other side of that coin is that card is an uncommon versus Mickey Mouse, which we know is limited print, and it's a legendary rare, and it's the first of its kind. So those three things hit on a lot of marks for both players and collectors. Whereas my argument for this Goofy is the collectors are going to want it. I don't know so much about the players because if you're a player and it's an uncommon, why would I pay $50 to $100 for a card I can find on a website for less than $1? Unless you really want to collect it.
Well, that's the argument against all this stuff. Why would we pay anything? Why is somebody going to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for the one-of-one Lord of the Rings card that was just found?
I don't know.
It's a piece of cardboard. It's a piece of cardboard. It's the people that find, and that's what we just had a discussion. You pay $25, Brandon to pay $50, I'd pay up to $100. So that's why we have these markets, right? So I mean, the argument is that if you're a player and you want to play the Musketeer deck, you want a special looking card that's cool because you're going to be playing the deck a lot, right? That's one argument. If it's the same art, we're probably just talking about different foiling. And again, as we've discussed for almost a year now, like this game, on top of just being a TCG with the collectability and the different treatment, that kind of stuff, it's a Disney game, right? So no matter what, you still are going to have just a whole nother subset of people that aren't even TCG collectors. They're just Disney collectors. So they're going to buy this stuff just because they collect Disney. So that's going to, we have a double collectors market in some ways. We have the people that normally get in a game and speculate on cards and collect them, whatever. But then you said people are just going to go out and get whatever they can get, the rarest stuff, because they believe that Disney is a commodity that will always go up.
Can I just say, it is fun to be here and listen to you two go back and forth.
That is why we make for great radio.
I'm glad you find that fun.
Well, we've also known each other for a while, so I know how Chris plays. I know how Chris thinks, and we're two opposite ends of the coin. I'm the player. I don't care about the collectability. I just want the cards. I want the decks. I want the collection. I want to play as many decks as I can. I don't care if it's max rarity or min rarity. Just give me 4 copies of Goofy at regular rarity, uncommon. I don't care. Chris is like, I'm willing to spend money on some high foil, heavy, cool stuff. And it's like, that's awesome. I don't care. Go for it, man. Take my copy too, because you can have it. Just give me a booster pack and trade. Like, I don't care what the value of the card is if it's for my buddy. And he's like, yeah, he wants it. I'm like, cool, you can have my copy.
I mean, you gotta look cool doing this stuff. I mean, I'm not the best player, but at least I look cool playing the game. That's what I gotta say. You know.
Can you imagine showing up to a Lorcana tournament with 4 brave little Taylor Mickeys from D23 in your deck?
Pull out the knife to protect yourself. You're about to get bugged.
I only have one left that is slabbed, so that's not going to happen for me because I sold the other ones. But
I don't think that's wise.
Yeah, I mean, people would do it. Like, I mean, we have.
It's not a smart idea.
And Fab is interesting because you could actually play with slabs. So people, you go to some of the big tournaments, you see dudes, which is like a whole board of slab cards out there, which is kind of funny because it has, Fab.
But those cards don't go into your deck.
Right. Yeah. So I'm saying, so that's, but then, some people play with, I don't know, anybody's playing with there's these legendary cards of Fab that are worth tens of thousands of dollars, right? Because of what they came out, I've never seen anybody shuffle that up. But there's some pretty, couple $100 cards.
Some guy went to a YCS and he had his entire Yu-Gi-Oh deck in slabs.
You just like,
It's a 40 card deck in those like 1-inch slabs. And he's like random shuffling everything.
It's like he has a whole stack.
I couldn't tell if it was a troll or not because it was on.
It's a troll. That's a troll.
TikTok. Well, I don't know if it was like an official match because there was like a judge and everything, and there's all these people watching, and he's just talking to his opponent while like him and like 3 other people are shuffling these 40 slabs. And I'm like, how would you? Oh my god, what is happening here? Like, this is ridiculous. But
next card, let's keep going.
I just want to say, I think that's the fascination of trading card games that doesn't get talked about is regardless of players, there's also a collector community. And that is such a fascinating group of people because some of them are willing to pay anything. Some of them have a limit of, hey, I don't want to hit this threshold. And some people are like, if it's cheap enough, I'll get it, but I don't really care for it. Like, I'm just always hunting for good deals or good trades because I'm a pin collector as well. And so some of those pins I'll pay anything for some pins. Some other pins I'm like, if it's like less than 50, I'll go for it. And other pins, it's like, I just don't care. That's just not what I want to collect. So I love hearing Chris talk about it because it also reminds me like there's so many more people that are going to be a part of the Lorcana community that aren't necessarily going to be playing at events or playing in tournaments, but they're still a part of the family. They're just taking the Lorcana hobby journey in a different direction.
The people playing at tournaments are going to be way less. The people actually going to tournaments to play are the minority in these games. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. The majority of people that get in the picking this stuff up are kitchen table people, just grabbing it off Target. Mm-hmm. That the most of the money they're going to make off this card game is people walking through Target, seeing some stuff and buying it for their kid because they do that all across the nation and it has Disney on it, right?
Yeah, or the theme parks too,
all that kind of stuff, right? Like that is when these games are produced in this day and age. Their assumption is that's the most money they're going to make. It's just from people grabbing random packs to see what the game is because that's how most of their money comes in, right? Yeah, and actually, the tournament players are very, a very small portion of people that actually like get the courage for one to go out and leave their house and go in a community and play a card game because this is not simple stuff, right? And there's like people that going out to play these games. If you're not in that part of that culture, that's a big jump to go out to your game, find a game store, find a group of people, introduce yourself, and learn like sometimes complicated games, right? So that's the people we are. So like I just think it's going to take a step back and think about that sometimes. That like a lot of this stuff isn't even directed at us, tournament players. So just something to think about.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. What do you think, Brandon?
Yeah, I think there's going to be people that just get a pack of cards and keep them because they're their favorite Disney character. Like there might, like I could see myself, like I'm already seeing like, oh, I have this friend or this family member who really likes this character. Like I could see myself, hey, here's this card, and maybe they'll get into Lorcana. Maybe they'll just keep it because it's their favorite character. But like I can see that level of it as well, of just the art is fantastic. And so people are going to gravitate to, it's a Disney collectible, new art, I'm in. So, and there's so many different sides of it. And it's super exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last plug, support your local game store. That's the place where you're going to be able to get your product. That's the place where you're going to be able to play games. That's the place where they're going to host OP events. Yep. So if you can at any point in time buy packs or support them by picking up accessories or whatever, support your local game store. Those are the people who worked hard to start a business, and those are the people who definitely want your support when they're going to be selling Lorcana and providing space for you to play. So, you know, buy a soda, buy a booster pack, just give them little bits of money or whatever you can just to help keep them open. But let's move on to the next card. This is Surfer Stitch, Carefree Surfer. This is a yellow card. He costs 7 ink. He can be sent to the Inkwell. Stats are 4 strength, 8 willpower, 2 pips of lore. Keywords are Dreamborn, Hero, and Alien. And then we have the Ohana ability, which states when you play this Stitch, if you have 2 or more other characters in play, you may draw 2 cards. So he doesn't count himself. But he does net you +1 in card economy. And what that means basically is if you started with 3 cards in your hand and then you play this Stitch onto the board, you will have 4 cards in hand after his effect resolves, which means you've netted +1 card. Most of the time, you'll see cards that net 0, where you play them and you draw a card. In fact, we're going to talk about one of those later. So those aren't actually drawing cards. They're just replacing themselves, or sometimes they're filtering, which lets you like draw a card, discard a card. So again, you didn't actually keep a card in your hand. You just got to see a better card and then ditch the worst card in your hand. So what do you think about Stitch? Stat line, lore, his ability? Do you like him? Is he too expensive? Would you play him?
Card draw is huge, and it doesn't seem, again, from the guy that has to play the game, it doesn't seem that unreasonable to have 2 characters at play, you know, by the time you get him out. Obviously, there is going to, you know, you can't do his ability the first turn. Or no, it is when you play this character. So yeah, I mean, it goes off when he comes into play. So it doesn't seem that difficult to trigger the card. And card draw is a big deal. Maybe not at that point in the game. Maybe it's not the biggest part of the game. I don't know. But I would think that, again, looking at this just from my past card game experience about card draw being good, and the ability to trigger it not being that difficult, I think is a great ability.
Agreed. I think the ability is one of the best things about this card. I mean, like you're saying, you can get a net 1 card at the end, so you're having setting yourself up really good with your hand afterwards, while also getting a 4/8 for 2 lore body out on the board. So, and on top of that, like we were talking about, this artwork is fantastic. Like just putting this card in your deck just because it looks good is probably going to happen on my end and with a lot of other people, because this artwork is great.
How do you feel about this card being a legendary rarity?
That is a fantastic question, because I mean, we're still waiting on the information of how hard is it going to be to actually get them. But I think it's kind of cool. Like this is, like, to me, this is one of the top pieces of artwork with the color scheming and all of that. And so having it as a legendary kind of makes it that kind of special thing where if you pull this from a pack, that's going to be awesome, because you're going to be super pumped about it, as opposed to if it's a legendary with less cool art, like, yeah, or you got a cool card, it's a legendary, but like, I don't know, just pulling this out, people seeing it, like, especially someone who's new to the game pulls this out of a pack, like, I think they're gonna be super happy.
I think the legendaries, so at least from my top of my head, all the legendaries we see so far are like great abilities, you know. So I think they're doing it the right way so far. Whereas a legendary is kind of a enabler to certain deck types. or just generally great ability, like drawing cards, great ability, right? Like being able to do something special you wouldn't otherwise normally do. That's what legendaries should be, and they should be enablers to making your deck do something special if you want them to really mean something. Because people are, if you need that, if Stitch is going to, if you're playing Amber, I assume you're going to want Carefree Surfer Stitch in your deck. It seems like that ability is that good. I'd have to look at this and say, why wouldn't I want that, right? Why can't I space my deck to draw 2 cards, to net 1 card basically, when I have 7 resources? That would have to be the thing you'd be working against, not about anything else. It'd be why wouldn't I put it in my deck? So if that's how they're doing legendaries, I think that's the way you should do legendaries. It should be that question for you for the color you're in. Why wouldn't I put this in my deck, right?
All right, and how much would you pay for a rainbow foil promo of this card, Chris?
$100.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh!
If
it actually, that'd probably be a really beautiful rainbow foil. That's fair.
That's great art.
Yeah, that looks so good. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the big boy himself. You're welcome. It is Maui, the demigod, or the demigod. He is 8 cost. He can be sent to the Inkwell. His stats are 8 strength, 8 willpower, 3 pips of lore. Wow. He has the keywords Storyborn, Hero, Deity. He is in steel or gray, and this is a rare card. Who wants to talk about this big hunk of whatever?
I like demigod. Demigod, is that demigod?
Demigod, yeah.
Demigod. I was making fun of how you said it. You better never. You should never ink Maui. Please don't ever do that. That's just disrespectful. I'm surprised he's actually inkable. Obviously that makes it better, I guess. But
well, what are you gonna do if you draw him turn 2? You got to send him to the Inkwell. You're not playing him. Oh no. Okay.
No. You don't disrespect my boy like that, please.
I'm gonna ink this man in front of you at
You're gonna show me. You're
like, hey Chris, remember that card you said don't ink? Oh.
So you're gonna draw it in the mulligan and keep it just
to ink it.
Chris, turn 1, I ink a Maui, and then play a hey you monster.
No, 8/8. I mean, that's again, guy that doesn't know all the cards yet. That's the biggest stat line, right? Is that the biggest stat line?
I think the Maleficent Dragon is like a 9/7.
Oh, right. See, I'm wrong again.
I think Maleficent was like a 7/5.
7/5. She's 7/5.
She's really low.
Oh, 7. Oh, that's right.
But she has the ETB.
Yeah, she has the removal on command. Yeah. So when you play her,
essentially Dragonfire.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, she's 7/5. So I think he is the biggest boy of the market.
I think so. Yeah, he's the biggest. I believe Simba, the not the one we're talking about today. He's a 4/8, but he's a challenger +4. So when challenging, he's 4/6. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Maui's the biggest, and that brings up my question my comment of, I think what's really cool about this card is you can use him in whatever way you need. If you need him late game to take out someone big, he's got 8 attack. But if you want to just slap him down, quest for 3 lore, he's going to be able to do that for hopefully a couple turns because he's got that 8 willpower. So that flexibility, I think, is going to be super, super nice for this card. He's
a finisher for sure. Again, we're talking,
no joke.
When you get in that range though, I mean, you have cards that could remove him. But this is when they need to draw their card to deal with them, right? They need to draw something to deal with them, and you could put them out and just bash them.
He's a thick dude, yeah.
Right. So that's your advantage at that point. They need to get their card to save them, where you're just going to be doing nasty stuff to them. So nope, great card.
I love this card. I think this puts the vanilla argument in a really awkward place because so many people are like, vanillas suck. Why would they put vanillas in this game? Vanillas are terrible. And then Maui got revealed. I'm like, he's kind of good, fam. He's kind of really good.
We have this in this game though. You have the pips, right? Like I think, like if he was 8/8 with 1 pip, we would not be as excited about him, right? Like the fact that
I don't know.
I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be
great at a 5/6 for 5 with 1 pip.
I would let you ink him if he was 8/8 for 1 pip. the fact that he's three, as Brandon said, the fact that he's 3 pips is huge. I mean, that like he's going to be pushing your win condition either way. You know,
I'm going to put that on your jersey. Chris Bates, don't ink Maui or I'll hurt you.
So that is. When you look at Sven is 6'5'7", 1 pip. Again, that's a vanilla. My whole point is I think with 3 pips, he's not vanilla anymore. I know vanilla. The term vanilla does mean that he doesn't have an ability, which he doesn't have an ability. That's what the term in the game TCG means. So you are not saying the word wrong, but I don't think it has the same connotation that like
Agreed.
He's weak because of that, right? The pips make a big difference.
I agree. So does anything with 3 pips is like you're just amazing at that point?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I mean, like
he's huge. Look at the size of his arms, man.
Well, we talked about this before we started, right? What are the 3 pips? It's
Rockstar, Stitch, and Moana,
who are both great cards, right?
Yeah, they're very good cards.
So 5, Moana 1/6 for 5, 3 pips. Has a great ability, and then that's the Stitch that shifts. Yeah,
Rockstar Stitch. So he shifts up for 4. Mm-hmm. He's a 5-drop inherently. He's 3/5, and then he's got the Adoring Fans. Anytime you play a character 2 or less, you can exert him and draw a card.
No, I mean,
and he beats both of them by himself.
Yeah, like that jump from 2 to 3 pips is huge, and I know that I haven't played an actual game yet. And that's just mathematically, when you try and get to 20, it's a huge. I'm gonna keep saying I haven't played the game yet because
it's fair. It's fair. It's good.
Opposed to you so much to you that you've played the game, probably the most of any human being in the world.
Possibly.
I think that's valid.
Oh no,
totally unjustified. But like we're gonna keep saying
it. I swear I have a life.
We're gonna claim that you're playing it more than game designers, which is probably not possible. But like somehow you figured out how to do it.
No, they've definitely played more than I have. They have a 3-year head start on me.
But do they?
Yeah.
Let's say it this way. You've played with more than they have with less cards, right? Like they never played the game with an incomplete set, and you've been smashing that. You've been just like bashing it with like no one like not like less than half the cards. So
yeah,
that's dedication.
I want to know how this game works. It's complicated. Sometimes.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I am making fun of you, but it's all in love.
I know. I love you too. Any thoughts, Brandon, on the thickest card in the set right now?
So I was looking at another 8-cost card, this Mickey Brave Little Tailor. So he's a 5/5 with 4 lore and has evasive. So essentially, if the cards were equal and they're trying to balance them all equally, then evasive would be worth 3 strength, 3 willpower, and a lore pip. So like it kind of seems interesting to me. Like that, looking at it that way makes me think that Maui is just phenomenal because he doesn't have evasive, but right now nothing can stop him. He's got 3 lore pips. Like I don't know, he's a fantastic card. And again, to what you guys were talking about, yes, he's technically a vanilla in name, but that in the connotation of vanilla means this card is trash and I'm not going to play him. It kind of doesn't. They're breaking that mold with this, and I really like that.
So that's an interesting question, though, Brandon. Would you rather have Maui on the board or Brave Little Tailor?
So for me,
I mean, it's game state dependent, right? I guess.
Yeah, I think for me, I need to see how many evasives there are in the full set, because with the current card pool, evasive is super powerful because there's not a lot of evasive.
Broken.
But if evasive is in every color and it's easy to come by, I would choose Maui because I can put him down. It's hard to get him out, and he gets that 3 lore. But I don't know. They're both good, but I think Maui he's pretty good.
Just wait until you give him Ward with Aurora. Ooh. Then you got to kill him in fashion way.
I mean that extra pip is even going from 3 to 4. Like the value of that, I'd be interested to see like the actual numbers when we get a full set out and like what people value the pip at. I just imagine that it must be 2 resources. 3 resources. I mean,
it depends because we have a baby Maleficent that's a 1-drop with 2 pips. She's nuts.
Yeah. But that brings
the one. She's squishy.
Yeah. That brings a great question of technically Mickey Brave Little Tailor has 4 lore, but how many times are you actually going to be able to quest with him? He's only a 5/5, so they might be able to take him out in a challenge. Maui, he's probably going to get at least 2, maybe 3 quests, depending on how long the game is or how close you are. And then, Maleficent, you can get her in a bunch of times, get 8 lore out of her. So it's not just the lore, the amount of lore on the card, it's how many times you can conceivably quest with that character
effectively
before
use it,
they're taken out.
And I love that you're using the right name terminology. I'll use lore from now on, but that sounds.
It doesn't matter. Pips, lore. It's.
No, it's lore. It's lore. That's what that's right.
They're lore pips. Mm-hmm. They're eating the same thing. All right, let's talk about a small character with big powers, and that is the new Ariel, which is the Who's It's collector. She is in blue or sapphire. She costs 4 ink. She cannot be sent to the inkwell, so she has no flourish. 3 strength, 3 willpower, 1 pip of lore. And then the keywords here are storyborn, hero, princess. And her ability is called Look at This Stuff. Whenever you play an item, you may ready this character. And then she is also a rare card. This is the first card I ever saw that made me think somebody broke the game with this card. And why was it Steve? Because this is such a combo piece where it has an unlimited amount of triggers. So it doesn't say once per turn or once per round. It's just whenever you play an item, untap this character, which means you can quest with her again. You can challenge with her. You probably shouldn't challenge with her. 3/3 is too squishy. But if you can get some kind of really nasty handful of items, like Dinglehopper is a 1-drop, Lanterns is a 2-drop. Let's see, a Magic Mirror is a 2-drop.
Coconut Basket's a 2 in Sapphire.
Yeah, Coconut Basket is a 2-drop. You can do some. Beast's Mirror is a 2-drop. Most items we've seen so far are very low to the ground.
There's not a quest phase, so you can quest. It's character dependent.
So you have one main phase, and you can take as many actions in any combination as you can legally do it. So you can quest with her.
That does make
play
a lot better.
An item. She untaps. Then you quest with her again. Then you play an item. Then she untaps. Then you quest with her again. So as long as you can legally pay for cards and legally do things, you have an unlimited amount of actions until you pass. So
she's 1 pip. She's 1 pip though. So
she's 1 pip, but imagine 2 of her on the board. You quest, play an item, untap, do it again. That's 4 lore for 1 item.
Right.
If you have 2 items, it's 6, and so on and so forth. That can become really gnarly really quickly. And then if you have the Moana package, you can untap her again, and now she's safe from counter challenging.
Right.
So your opponent has to get rid of her with removal spells or like ping damage.
But then if you have Aurora with Ward on board, then you're safe. There's so many things, like you're saying, like this is one of the best combos with like other Sapphire cards, because Maurice, when you quest with him, you pay 2 less for the next item. So you could quest with Maurice, then get an item out for free to be able to then bring Ariel back online. Like you can just
when you play an item with Maurice, you draw a card, so you replenish your hand.
Yep. So it's I heard I think it was John T with the Illumineer saying that like this was one of the first cards where it's like as soon as you see it, you're like, I know what deck this is going in, and you start to like bring all. I'm going to put this card. Like it's exciting that we're at that point in knowing how many cards and how to play, where we can start to. The new card comes out. It's like, I know exactly what I'm going to do with this one.
Yeah, this is a thug card. It's a thug deck. You're just going to drop items and go quest, untap, quest, untap, quest, untap, quest, untap. Game? This is one of the few cards, if you got like the nuts hand, you could accidentally win in 1 turn.
And okay, let's not be hyper. Okay, let's dial it back a little bit. Hold up,
it's true.
Hold up. She's a 1 pip. I mean, the card you've talked about various times that the card draw in this game is rough, like especially with what we have so far. So, like what are you saying? You're saying you're going to have a hand of 6 items in her?
No. You only need like 2 of her and a couple items, because
that's all you need.
Yeah, because if you've got like Belle, so say you have Belle online, she quests for 2. She's a 3-drop.
Yeah.
Whenever she quests, the next item you play costs 1 less.
Right.
All the items we have that are worth having are 1 or 2. So either you're going to play your next item for free, or you're going to play your next item for 1. So if you have an Ariel or 2 Ariels and you use Belle appropriately, you quest with Belle for 2. You quest with the 2 Ariels for 2. That's 4. You play an item, you untap the Ariels, you quest for another 2. That's 6. If you have another item, then you quest again. That's 8. That is really scary to think about, that with a couple items and the right cards, you could turn 3 characters on your board into 8 lore. That is almost half of the win con.
Or by the time you get to set up, I attacked twice I quested twice with Mickey.
No, because Mickey costs 8.
To get all that set up, I mean, to get the base level set up that you said, it would be turn what?
6.
It'd be turn 6, 7.
No, it'd be
plus 3
6.
With 3 cards in your hand.
That's very doable.
Okay.
So then comes back to, are we going to get another just in time that's for higher cost cards? Because if you can, you would be able to get the Mickey Brave Little Tail online,
Correct.
But to that point, if we don't get a card like that, it'd be you couldn't really get it unless you had a really aggressive ramp package with Sapphire right now to get out more ink.
Well, here's the thing: you could get Ariel out with just in time. You also have one jump. You have Detective Mickey, and you have lanterns. So there are ways to get her out. She can get out faster than turn 4.
Yeah, blue is looking really good. Sapphire.
Right. You can get her out on turn 3. So if you have lanterns or just in time, you can get around turn 3 pretty consistently. Now, with the card draw, you're right. Just in time eats up 2 cards. And if you ink that turn, that's 3. So it's a very inefficient card economy. Yeah. So I don't know if I would use that for her, but I would use the lanterns package, because the lanterns are constantly reducing the cost, and you can still get her out on turn 3. So I'm pretty confident yellow and blue Ariel ramp with the item package. It's very viable.
It definitely. I mean, I can't say it's not viable. I like that it's 1 pip versus obviously that's the limiter, right? Like they know that this is a combo that probably could go crazy real fast, right? And she's a 3/3. Yeah, so if you push you too fast, if you're not protecting her by bringing her back up, if you're taking the extra pip, the quest, then she's susceptible to be taken out real easy, right? So no, it doesn't. I like that you're giving the strategy there about what's good, but it doesn't strike me off the bat as seeming broken at all. Like it's just thinking about the card draw needed and the resources needed to do what you need to do. I'm thinking realistically, on average, probably 3 or 4 lore would be the upper limit, right? If you have 2 of them out there and you get to reset them twice, maybe that seems reasonable from the actual.
We'll see. She's got the capability to be stupid. Whether Ravensburger keeps their designs with that in mind is to be determined, because the more items that come out, the more silly she gets. And the more ways to protect her or reduce her cost, the sillier she gets. So ironically, all the ramp and ways we want to get the big bodies out also makes her much scarier in tandem at the same time.
Right.
Because it's I can get my Maui out on turn 6. I can get my Ariel out on turn 2. Oh, wait a minute. No.
But you need 2 items on 1 turn to get the same benefit that Maui will get. I know that Maui's twice as much. I'm just saying, it's still, I know the combo possibilities are there. Yes, the upper limit of her is that's what you're talking about. That the upper limit's there. I don't know. I can't imagine how consistent you're seeing the upper limit.
We'll see.
What are the decks of cards? Is it 40 cards? 60 cards? It's 40 cards, right?
60.
It's 60 cards. Yeah, I mean, even
4 copies.
60 cards, 4 copies. Yeah.
So you could theoretically have a 15 card deck with 4 copies of each. The only thing I want to say is, in my years of playing trading card games, generally the cards that have untap abilities find a way to break portions of the game.
Totally agree. Totally agree with that statement. Yes.
I've yet to see a card game with a character or an ability that says do X, untap this card, ever be fair, balanced, or unplayable.
I mean, she limits every future item in the game. Like you can't. She makes every item X better, right?
Yeah.
So that the game designers know that they're not new game designers.
Correct.
But that just means that the same thing with Bell. That anytime you have cards that activate off of other cards that way, combos. That's what a combo is. You're gonna make those cards so much better when they're together. You're making that that type of deck right away, right?
Yeah.
So that I just imagine that like they have it balanced, right? That's all we can do. And then we also have to acknowledge that none of these things are balanced perfectly, because if you want a perfectly balanced game, you'll play chess. We play these games. That's not an ouch. Like there's no card game. I assure you that even this, it's very hard even to have one set of a card game perfectly balanced. By set 3, I would imagine, I tell you, that the game's definitely not going to be balanced, right? That's just the way it is with card games. That's fine. You have to come in card games realizing that they're going to have to do things to bring things power level down places and bring it up other places, right? That's just the way card games are.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And for anyone who's listening or watching this on YouTube, I want to be very clear cut. I don't think the game is broken. I don't think it's over. I don't think the meta is solved. I'm not like I'm not trying to naysay anything. I just look at Ariel, and from experience, it's like this card could do some really crazy things. Now, the expectation is you have to draw the literal nuts. You have to draw the perfect hand. You have to draw everything in sequential order at the right time, which will probably not happen maybe once every 100 games. But the reality is it could happen, and someone will have it happen, and they're going to show up and go, oh, I quest for 2, untap, quest for 2, untap, quest for 2, game. And you're like, whoa, that was fast. What happened? Well, I just drew literally everything I possibly could have wanted. It's like, I guess so. So I want to see that happen. I think it'll be really cool. But hot take. This is my super duper hot take. Love it or hate it. I think this will be one of the first cards to get banned or errata'd if it ever happens. If they ever do like a balance list, that's my call. Is this will be one of the first cards to be on that list. I could be wrong. It is a hot take for a reason.
I don't think it's that hell of a take. I mean, that's a fair. Like I totally agree with that part of the card. This is the type of ability that gets out of control real fast. So it's always to be a limiter on anything they do. And I can see them having to do something about it because they want to print cooler items, or they want to, or that, or they want to, or it just becomes the fact that the item deck is just the best deck. And then that well, we got to do something. What's the neighbor of the item deck? Ariel.
I'm just surprised it doesn't say once per turn. Cause at that point you get the untap effect, but it doesn't have the potential to go unlimited. As it's printed, it's like, oh, you could do this an infinite amount of times if you have enough ink and enough items. Okay.
How many removal cards hit her right now? I mean, there's like 2. I can think of.
So
low cost.
Smash will kill her, and then all of the hard removal will kill her. So Let It Go and Dragon's Fire. Yeah, there will be AoE removal, obviously, but the thing is, your opponent doesn't have like a stack, so they can't get rid of her unless it's their turn. So like you could do some really really gnarly things, because you can shift into Ward Aurora on turn 3. So you can do like turn 2 Baby Aurora, turn 3 shift up, everything you play has Ward. So now the opponent has to have hard removal. And then turn 4 you play an Ariel, she's safe. Turn 5 you play an Ariel, they have to kill your Aurora. And then turn 6, game on, baby, quest, play an item, untap, quest, play, like that's why I'm saying if you get the perfect hand and you can shift up the Aurora, they can't actually stop you, because they have to get the Aurora on turn 5. And by that point, you're on your turn 6, and both Ariels don't have summoning sickness, and they can't play 2 hard removal spells because they all cost 5 at this point in the game. So unless we get something else, even if they play the hard removal spell on Aurora, they don't have 3 mana to get rid of the Ariel because Smash costs too much. And if they have 1 mana available, they could play cannons, but that doesn't get rid of Ariel either. So we could see something else that does 3 damage, but the current state of the game, she's totally safe if you get the shift on turn 3.
Yeah, these combos are definitely, that's something I'm super looking forward to, because you're right. They're not going to happen every game. They're not going to happen most games, but it feels so good when you're able to pull it off. Like for right now, one of the best combos, like Stitch Rockstar, when you're able to get him out there and pull a 1-drop, exert him, draw a card, and it happens to be a 2-drop, and you put him down, exert, draw a card. Like when you can pull off those combos, I mean, that's what makes these games fun. Is it's not guaranteed to happen every game, but then when it does, it's so cool.
I agree. So we'll definitely be watching Ariel. She's on my list of decks to pilot out the first thing I can, because tap on tap questing is super fun. Also, her artwork is just gorgeous, and they revealed the foil card. So cool. Anyways, I'm geeking out. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I was excited that they revealed those foil cards. That was really, really cool to kind of see. Okay, this is how it would look if I'm turning the foil card in my hand. I thought that was a really, really cool look.
Dear internet and listeners who are listening to this episode right now, if you get a cold foil Ariel, send me an email or a DM. We'll trade. I want 4 of these in cold foil.
How much will you pay?
0. I will trade.
What?
I will trade.
Well, just pay for it. Oh my god. Okay, next card. Oh my god. Just if you want them, just buy it.
No, I could just hustle it. I could trade. I can get rid of cards I don't want. I'm not going to be playing certain decks, so I'll be like, hey, I'll trade you X card for Y card. Super.
But you might want to play X deck someday.
I don't know, maybe. Then I'll just trade for that.
2 different minds.
Yep. I'm with you. I'm like, I want to as much as possible get all the cards, because who knows?
Right.
Want to throw them in someday, or I just really want to play a Beauty and the Beast deck or a Frozen deck, and so okay, I'm going to slap these cards together, even though they're not the best, but have a good time.
Especially at the start. Like, I mean, I did that for the first couple sets of Fab, and then you find your niches, right? Like as the games go on, and that I'm not interested in Musketeers, or I'm not interested in whatever. So
how dare you?
I was just looking at Goofy. I mean, I definitely will play Musketeers.
Talking about the guy who's going to buy a Goofy. He's like, look at that card. He looks so silly.
Right. Is that like your Maui is Goofy? My bad.
Man, have you seen Maui's face? He looks constipated, bro.
No, that's a good card.
Okay.
Go ahead, Brand. We cut you off rudely.
Oh no, I was just saying you're going to pay $100 for a Goofy Musketeer and then say that they're not good. I'm just a little confused.
Yeah. Again, the fact that it's a promo is why I'm buying the card. I don't give a darn about the card. I mean, I'm sorry. Darn. I don't give a darn about the card. It's a promo. And I hope that it could increase the value like these brave little tailors did for me. They pay for some stuff. So
I know. I'm just busting your chops.
Oh man,
Peter Pan.
Let's move along. We got 4 more cards. We got to hustle. We're a little bit over the hour.
We always say we're going to go an hour, but then we go like 2 hours every single time. Every single time.
Yeah, we're never going to be on time. Oh well, we'll have fun along the way. All right, Peter Pan, Never Landing in Emerald, 3 cost, can be inked, 3 strength, 2 willpower. Keywords are Dreamborn and Hero, 1 pip of lore, and 1 effect. Very simple. Evasive. Only characters with evasive can challenge this character.
Perfect.
What are your thoughts?
Perfect card.
My main thing with this card, I've heard people passing around, is I love the flavor that Fire the Cannons can take out Peter Pan. Like it's a good card, but I love the way that these cards are going to interact, and I think that's amazing.
Yes, absolutely. I concur with you.
No, the evasive effect is made for Peter Pan. That's what you think about, right?
I would have been disappointed if he didn't have evasive.
I'd be disappointed if any version of him doesn't have evasive. Probably, I don't know how you're going to justify any version that have evasive. But
I could see him leading the Lost Boys as a challenger.
Yeah, throwing some food.
Yeah, but like a traditional Peter Pan, he's definitely a flyer with evasive. That's just kind of a thing. I don't think there's too much to say. He
looks like a fairy in that picture. Doesn't he look like he looks small? I think that's just the background.
It's the way they've kind of drawn him. Well, the thing I'll say about Peter Pan is evasive is it's a disingenuous effect, because a lot of people look at that and they go, oh, I can get rid of that. And then when you're playing in game and you're trying to attack, you realize, oh, I can't actually attack characters with evasive.
Right.
Uh-oh, what do I do? And it's like, well, unless you have removal or evasive characters, nothing.
Yeah. It's only 1 pip, but still, it's only 3 costs, right?
1 pip adds up over time if you can't do anything about it. Look at Pascal. Pascal is a great example of, I have evasive. I'm a 1/1, and I only produce 1 lore. Well, that adds up over 4, 5, 6 turns. That's 25% of your win con right there if you get 5 lore out of 1 Pascal.
Right, these early evasive rush decks, just getting them out there early and just going for it, right?
Well, and here's another thing. We built a deck with red-green evasive, so you have a 3-drop with evasive, you have a 5-drop Goofy with evasive with 2 lore, and then you have the 6-drop Genie who has evasive, and he bounces a character off of the board. So basically turns 1 and 2, you don't have evasive. 3 you do. 4 you don't, and then 5 and 6 you do. That's kind of a deck right there, especially if you just play another Peter Pan on turn 4. The moment you get to turn 3, you can have a turn 3 evasive, a turn 4 evasive, a turn 5 evasive, a turn 6 evasive. And if your opponent doesn't have an answer, you're just questing in the sky, kind of, you're just playing solitaire at that point. So it's a legitimate thing people are going to have to find an answer for, because that deck has 4 Pans, 4 Goofies, 4 Genies, so that's 12 evasive characters. If you needed to, you could do Tigger at 6, so that could be another 4, so that's 16 targets with evasive. And then all of your 5 and higher costs have 2 pips. I mean, you could even do like a low to the ground evasive with Pascal and Peter Pan. You'd have 8, but your Pascals are 1 drops and your Peter Pans are 3. And then you could just base race out with your Baby Maleficents with 2. There's Peter Pan fits in so many different decks as a 3/2. It's really incredible. And he's such a simple character, but outside of facing off against Seal, he's kind of safe.
Yeah, it's a good card.
Simba.
All right, moving on. We have Simba, the Future King. This is a 1 cost card. He can be sent to the Inkwell. Stats are 1 strength, 2 willpower. Keywords are Storyborn, Hero, and Prince. He has 1 pip of lore. His special effect is called Guess What? When you play this character, you may draw a card, then choose and discard a card. So you're going to hear this term a lot along the internet. This is called looting or filtering or hand control. They're all the same thing. Basically, you draw a card,
thinning.
You look at all the cards in your hand, you pick the worst one, and you discard it. So we were talking about this earlier. This does not net you an additional card. You end the effect with the same amount of cards as you started. So with Stitch, you're going to have 1 extra card in your hand. With Simba, you're going to have the exact same amount of cards. However, the term I call it looting because it's magic, because there's a card called loot, and you drew, I think, 2 cards and you discarded 2 cards. It was in red. It was faithful looting, I think is what it was called.
Now it's a really blue effect, pretty much, but yeah.
So the idea is you're digging through your deck, finding the best cards possible, and discarding the worst cards possible. So what do you guys think? Is he good? Is he bad? Do you want to play him?
Love that art.
Yeah, and I think he would be fantastic, like, to play on the first turn, because if you have a hand of, after you play him, 6 cards, like, you then can look through those and say, you know what, this one I really don't need. I'm gonna discard it. So, like, you can filter through some of, especially your uninkable cards. Like, if you get stuck with an uninkable card at the beginning that's super high cost, you can use Simba to get rid of that card, and then you're not stuck with a dead card in your hand. So I really like Simba.
That's the biggest thing. I think cards like him will enable you to run, the more cards that you can't ink, right? Like it lets you draw in and give you more options earlier in the game, so you can maybe cut down on the cards that that you can't eventually ink, like what you want to have, because they have powerful effects. So no, I think the 1 cost saves them, or doesn't save them, but like makes them a lot better of a card, because this effect isn't as valuable later in the game. It like loses some juice as the game goes on. Agreed. So you want to get it early, and then the stat line's fine. 1/2/1 pip, fine.
Yep, I think he's a great card. He can be part of a combo if you're not holding the right pieces. You can slap him down early game. You can ditch the card you don't want for the card you maybe do want. The big thing is it helps you see more of your deck. And on average, the player who sees more of their deck usually wins, because they've had access to more of their options. Whether you see the right card or not, that's to be determined. But the point is you're digging through your deck faster, which means you should, in theory, get to the pieces you need to win the game. So I definitely think he's kind of an auto-include in steel decks, because why not? I mean, even in mid to late game, he can still be good, because if you have a bunch of ink in your inkwell and you are missing like 1 card. So say, for example, you need a removal spell and you've got 6 ink. You play him down, you draw a card and see if you get what you need. And all the removal spells are 5. So you could still afford to play them. And, if that's what wins you the game, then boom, Simba just helped win you the game. If not, then, you didn't get it, but maybe you got another answer to help thin down your opponent's board. It just keeps giving you, it gives you tools, and it's a 1 cost. Like, it's a 1 cost and a body. I think that's pretty cool. It's not a great body, but still, you get a body who can quest, and you get the opportunity to loot. I can't argue that for being a good card. And it's a common. He should be easy to find in booster packs.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. I'm definitely gonna include him in any steel decks that I'm making.
Second to last card, we're gonna talk about probably the most awkward reveal we've seen in the last week, and that is Zeus, the god of lightning. So he costs 4 ink. He cannot be sent to the inkwell. 0 strength. Don't freak out, everybody. 4 willpower. Keywords are Storyborn and Deity. He has 2 pips of lore and 2 effects. One is Rush. This character can challenge the turn they're played, and Challenger +4. While challenging, this character gets +4 strength. So the idea is you play Zeus, you can immediately challenge with him. When he's challenging, he turns into a 4/4. You're hopefully going to banish something off of the board. And then that's it. And then he turns back into a 0/4. So then your opponent can just swing into him with literally whatever they want. And he's probably dead, because if he's taken out something with his 4 strength, 4 willpower, it's probably something with like 2 or 3 defense. Usually those characters have around 2 or 3 attack. So he's probably sitting on 1, maybe 2 points of health left before he himself is banished. So what do y'all think about Zeus?
Yeah, I probably don't care that what he's at, because I'm probably suicided him. That's like,
okay.
He's definitely, he's there for the rush. I mean, he's there to take something out when they don't expect you to take them out. They think they're safe for whatever reason. Maybe I have no characters on board. They put out Ariel. They're like, oh, she's gonna survive. She's gonna do her thing. I'm gonna get my broken combo off. No, you're not, because Zeus is here, and that's what he's there for.
Zeus has arrived.
I imagine. I'm looking through cards right now just to see if there's anything yet. But in a lot of other card games too, the fact like having getting the bonus that way, or getting the power that way as you challenge, usually is used as an enabler. So he's, for all effects, he's a 0 strength, right? So there could be, I don't see anything in our core pool yet, but there could be just permanent buffs to lower weaker characters that would apply to him, because he is base 0, right? Or it can get around some other effects too. So it's an interesting. That's the only way. That's what I'm trying to think of, why else they would do that. I know they have that with a few different cards, but especially with a character of the Rush, putting the challenge on that way. Again, also just to make it so that he doesn't do anything when he gets attacked, right? Like, he doesn't do anything defensively. He really is just a goblin, basically.
He's a cannon. Yeah. Like, you just swing him into something and they're dead.
Like so red deck wins. Purple has like has access to like,
with haste. Yeah, they had like the 5/1s and the 6/1, like ball lightning.
Right. So that's
just swing in and blow them up. But here's my counter argument. In Magic, you have a life total.
Right.
So you could swing with that 6/1, and if they didn't have anything to block, 6 damage, you only have 20 health in Magic. That is almost half of your life from a single card. And Ball Lightning only costs 3 mana. It was triple red. So on turn 3, you slap that thing down, you attack, and normally with red, your opponent doesn't have a lot of stuff on the board, so you're probably taking 6 damage to the face. Zeus is not questing for 6 lore immediately. So that's my only argument, is red deck wins is a very different deck.
Sure.
But compared to this.
Yes. To get you to the end game, to get you to the winning the game, I think Zeus is going to stop other combos from going off, which is my initial point. Like, he's going to be the one that is able to get in and stop something else bad from happening, right? Where they don't expect. I mean, the Rush is very, very powerful. Because haste is powerful. Being able to do something the first time you come out. In his case, all he really cares about doing is challenging and getting annoying characters off the board, whether that be Ariel, whether that be like, I don't know, some other combo card that is going to enable their game plan, and they are set up for that. So I like him. I mean, he's only 4 costs, so he's coming out pretty fast.
He does well in conjunction with Rafiki. Having a turn 3 rush and then a turn 4 rush is pretty scary.
Yeah.
It definitely keeps your opponent off kilter. Generally, you're trading the Rafiki for a 2/2 or a 2/3. And then if they slap back into Rafiki, usually they trade out. So with a Rafiki turn 3 rush and a Zeus turn 4 rush, generally your board state is bigger, and they may or may not have like a 1-drop left over. So if the 1-drop swings into Zeus, then literally nothing is on the board at that point. So it's kind of a awkward board wipe. And if you can establish a better board, especially with, say, if your purple deck is running little low to the ground bodies, you could set up some plays where you just slap down a couple Pascals and now you're off to the race questing and your opponent has to catch up. So yeah, I could definitely see what you're saying, Chris. He does set up an interesting game state where you do slow down the game quite a lot, because by turn 4, if nothing's on the board, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
What do you think, Brandon?
Yeah, I think my first thing is, I think that we are missing a card in this deck that allows you to ready a character. If that card comes out, Zeus becomes so much more powerful, because then he can then challenge again. And so I think once that one comes out, that's probably the reason why he seems underwhelming to people, and because he's uninkable. But I think once we get a card like that, he becomes way more powerful. But I also like the flavor on there, in my opinion, of him being able to have Challenger. I imagine Zeus when he has his little guy over there making lightning and passing it over to him. So he can knock everything out, but then once he runs out of lightning, he's vulnerable. He's easy to take out. So like, that's kind of how I see it, is you could have potentially even bring in that side character as having the ability to ready another character, and then super huge flavor there. He can then bring Zeus back up because he filled back his lightning, and Zeus can attack again. So I think we're missing a bit there that's going to come out later.
I agree.
I also think the purple, I could see a card that allows them to ready at the end of their turn or something like that, like to stand back up.
Oh,
so you
that
can
would be awesome.
Just because they have so many of these ones that only get the challenge when the plus power when they challenge.
I like that.
That lets them stay around longer if you have the combo going for that.
Man, that's a scary proposition, because that makes Zeus and Facilier really gnarly.
Yeah, because I agree with you. If there's a character that can ready Zeus, then he can immediately attack again, which might be a little too powerful. But if it's readying them before your turn ends, you can't challenge a second time, but he's safe. And so I really like that.
And then he's 2 pips. And then it's like, okay, well, now you have to use removal against him, or he gets to do his 2 pips, or he challenges again with 4 strength. So, I mean, that's the combo I think purple will have.
But
I bet you we'll see an action card that does that.
That would be awesome.
I bet you we'll see an action card that says, choose a character, ready them.
Yeah, I like that. Last one, so I could go to bed.
All right, last one. Some of my favorite art, but a very divisive card in the community. Donald Duck strutting his stuff. This is a 5-drop. The card can be sent to the Inkwell. Donald Duck is in blue or sapphire, 4 strength, 3 willpower. Keywords are Dreamborn, Hero, and Inventor. Our 3rd Inventor next to Belle and Maurice. 2 pips of lore, and a very simple effect, Ward. Opponents cannot choose this character except to challenge. So he's completely safe from abilities. He's completely safe from removal. You cannot target this card unless he is exerted, and then you can challenge him. What do you think about this card? I have no idea where to go here, because there's so many pathways for this Donald.
What why is it controversial? Or did you just say that to get people? I don't like
no,
like what
no,
like why?
Like the internet is like, this card is sucks.
Who is the internet? Like what be like what it like?
Twitter, Discord, Facebook, people all over the internet are arguing about this card being good, bad, mid, whatever.
I mean, he's 2 pips, which is already a great stat line to start with. 4-3 for 5. And he has ability, a mid ability. Like I would agree it's mid. I mean, Ward is like
Ward is very good.
Yeah,
but he's also really squishy. So the moment he quests,
he's gonna. It does.
Ariel could kill him, and Ariel's weak.
The ward doesn't really matter in this case unless you get a way to buff him, right? In my opinion,
right. So that's the question. Yeah. Why does he have the ward if he's so darn squishy?
Right. I get that. I don't think that makes him a bad card. I think that just means that it's a combo card. There's something that's going to get you there. Because
yes, I agree. I think there's something in an inventor deck that he's going to be able to do.
Right. Oh, I'm so excited for the inventor deck, musketeer deck. The subtypes, they're just built-in combos. I'm super excited for
just that. Maui. Maui's not a subtype, but just a Maui deck.
He's a hero. Oh my god! Watch out for Chris. He's going to bring 60 Mauis in his deck. Wait a minute. How are you going to play him if you can't ink your Mauis, homie?
I mean, if it's an all Maui deck, I can ink 8 of them. Just 8.
What are you gonna do on turns 1 through 7?
Lose.
Okay.
We have different versions of Maui. You got the Maui attack cards. You got Maui throwing his hook. You got Maui hard to feedy.
And then Maui's a his ability is shape shifting. Right. So like we could see a ton of cards with the different.
That makes a lot more sense, Brandon. Thank you for saving me there. That makes a lot more sense than what I was going for. I was going to start talking about tattoos. You got Maui different tattoos of the cards. Maui wave tattoo that clears the board off. Maui peck tattoo that cool. Flames the board. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, back to Donald Duck's trying to get stuff.
Donald
yes. It's not super amazing. It's not an amazing card. It's not a vanilla card. I think again, it's the subtype there. I think we're all in agreement here that the subtype there is going to lead to some shenanigans, and he's going to be He's going to be part of those shenanigans. You're going to want the force. You're going to want the 2 pips probably, and they're going to be something that gives them some protection to stick with, to make it matter. That's probably what's happening here.
But yeah, because if you put a sapphire steel deck and you bring a bodyguard online, then he has ward. So then you can't remove him with a fire the cannons or something like that, or smash, but he can then quest away. You have to go into the bodyguard and he's safe. Yep. So that's where on his own, you quest with him, he's gone. But when you start to have all those different combos, he can be a pretty good card to just get you 2 lore over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not many people have talked about putting him in a bodyguard deck. I think that's a great idea because if you can't touch him and you have a 3/6 Goofy or a 2/7 Mickey protecting him, depending on which color you add, he's just going to sit there and quest all day long. You can't do a thing about it. I like how you think. I think that's cool.
That's one of the things I'm most excited for jumping into this game is just being able to just tinker with this card could be good here and just try to solve those little problems and just it's a fun, that's the game within the game.
Yeah, I do agree there's something else we haven't seen because we tried to figure out what the heck was going on with the green Aladdin that was the 2/2 for 2 with ward, and it's like, this makes no sense. And then we saw the shift 5 up Aladdin, and we're like, so I guess the moment you play this Aladdin, as long as you don't quest, he just safely shifts and can't be touched. That's kind of scary. Okay, cool. So anytime I see ward, it's like, what's the combo here, Lorcana? Where are we going? But if there is no combo, I think you're right. You can hide them behind bodyguards, and until they kill the bodyguards, they can't actually get rid of Donald.
Yeah, because
2 lore is no joke.
Totally, because if you get him out with a couple other 2 lores hiding behind bodyguards, I mean, it's just a race to get that lore by questing as fast as possible.
It stacks up really fast.
Yeah.
And blue has got a lot of characters that have 2 lore at very low baseline costs. We could see an inventor deck since they make items with Ariel. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, because the inventors have items. That's a good point.
Yeah, the inventors either discount items or
you draw a card.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was like, Exert and Exert a inventor, and then you could like search your deck for an item of some sort.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
And that just feeds into Ariel's ability. So many possibilities. Very, very many. Okay, but we're way over time. We totally lied, but that's okay because we're having fun. So last question for the table before we get on out of here. Which is the favoriteest card of all the ones we had revealed? Which one do you like the most? We all know mine. It's not even a question, so don't worry.
I think we all know. Well, I don't know. Brandon's a little interesting answer here because I know yours. Everybody knows mine. So Brandon, what's yours?
Of the ones we talked about today that were revealed, I would definitely say Goofy. Goofy Musketeer. Okay. Goofy's one of my favorite characters. Having Musketeer and Amber, like an earlier Musketeer that has a really good willpower, like just he's a solid card. He's been fun to tinker around with, so that's definitely my favorite card that's we revealed today.
Yeah, I'm Maui, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm on Team Ariel.
Right.
I'm gonna get that art and please make a playmat of that. Otherwise, I'll just make a playmat because she's so cool. Also, there's just so much color in that artwork. Good job, whoever did that. Thank you so much.
I'm mad that you said my artwork sucks, but you're talking about your artwork like that your card is bomb.
I like everything about Maui except his face.
It's a face. It's his face. What do you look?
I mean, you're not wrong, but I mean, Donald's got a cool face, and Ariel's got a cool face, and Maui looks like he's got Taco Bell syndrome over.
He has a muscular face. He's a beefy boy.
Yeah, you're right.
You're a beefy boy. I'm a beefy boy. Like, what are we doing here?
We're both beefy boys.
What are we saying?
I don't. Nothing. You're just saying Maui looks kind of funny. He's got the face, man. He's just got. I mean, would you put that face on a T-shirt? Probably not.
Would you put it? Well, you would.
Ariel's? Yes, I would.
Okay. Waifu over here. Okay.
Oh my god, dude! I'm Japanese. That's what we do, man. Come on, that's not a surprise. Come on now, hold up, wait a minute.
I got so many comments that I can't say because family show,
family friendly show.
So I'm just gonna shut up. Let you do the outro.
Well, let's pass it off to Brandon. So you are part of Brimley Games. Tell the listeners where they can find you and your content, and then give us a hint on what's next in the pipeline for us to enjoy.
Yeah, thank you. So the main place would be on YouTube. So just Brimley Games on YouTube, and then on other social medias, Twitter, Instagram, same name.
Can you spell that? Because I don't even know that. Can you spell what it is?
That's a good one. Yeah. So Brimley Games, and so that's where you can find me. And then in terms of sneak peek of what's to come, I have not produced any Lorcana content yet, but it is in the pipeline. I do a lot of how to plays on my channel, so I have a how to play of Lorcana in the works. So that'll be coming out shortly.
Awesome.
Oh, very exciting. Okay, cool. Well, thank you, Brandon, for coming on the show. It was an absolute blast. You're welcome to come on anytime, and we'll definitely have to do some more stuff together. But thank you to everyone for joining us. This has been an amazing episode talking about cards, what we will pay, what we won't pay, putting faces on T-shirts, getting called a waifu, talking about if Donald Duck is good.
I mean, you're not a waifu. I would say you're doing the waifu stuff.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. She's cute. She's cute. It's okay. Anyway, but thank you everyone for joining us. If you what
she's a cartoon character. Like, what do you mean?
So?
She's cute. That's a whole different episode, I guess.
All right. Brandon, I'm gonna need you to help break the tiebreaker. Is Ariel on this piece of art? Do you think she's cute? If you don't, that's cool. I'm not mad at you.
She's a cartoon character. Go ahead. There's only one cartoon character that was hot. You know who that was?
What?
Jessica Rabbit.
What is even going on here?
Yeah, you're not
because
wrong.
that was a live action movie. She was a cartoon and live action movie, kind of. So like.
Well, that was the thing. She was CG,
right?
So it's like, is she a cartoon?
Was that considered CG back then? Was that computer?
Yeah, she was 3-dimensional. Yeah,
I didn't realize that. I thought they did with some kind of. I mean, that was like the 80s, wasn't it?
It was like CG / Well, it was 2D animation.
I thought it was like with. I thought they did it with I don't know.
I have to go back and watch it, but like they gave her kind of a 3-dimensional character where Roger Rabbit was like straight 2D.
What's the name of the movie? Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Okay, do the outro. We'll talk later.
This is going poorly here. That's okay. That's what happens here when you do LorcanaCast. All kinds of crazy stuff happens. But anyways, thank you so much for listening. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter at LorcanaCast, and we will see everyone next time. And remember, Ohana means family, which means nobody gets left behind and nobody gets forgotten.
The sticky wheels always getting the grease. I'm so